2023 오버워치 리그 스프링 스테이지의 퀄리파이어.
Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to get into the action for our second series of the day to round out our third week of play. I'm Achilles here alongside Avril, and we will be guiding you guys through the action as we get ready to go into our setup here between the Guangzhou Charge and the Shanghai Dragons.
What is this, the final regular season, not regular season, but like the final qualifying game that we have before we head into knockouts as well. So final opportunity to get some seeding into play. We just saw the Seoul Infernal take down both the Zhou teams, this time the Hangzhou Spark, swift 3-0 fashion. It certainly is Jova for those two teams. Didn't expect the Infernal going to come out that hard, but here we are, the #1 team in the East so far. But can they actually hold on to the #1 spot? Because it's not guaranteed, Achilles. Yeah. The match that we have ahead will determine Infernal's final seeding. Shanghai success versus the Charge. Charge's success versus the Shanghai Dragons. The result of this match determines whether Infernal finishes first, whether they finish second. In order for Infernal to finish first in the qualifier, Shanghai need to take 2 maps. That's it. If Shanghai can win 2 maps versus the Guangzhou Charge, even if they then lose map number 5, Infernal will take first seed. But if the Guangzhou Charge beat the Shanghai Dragons 3-1 or 3-0, Guangzhou Charge remain #1 in the East. So all to play for here, especially if you are Infernal and you've already done your job, but all you can do now is watch.
Yeah, I mean, and this does feel like a bit of a tough ask for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, because we did see them have some stark improvements, and they still widely have looked overall improved compared to the start of the season. But we saw them, be able to take down Dynasty, and then they go out against the Dallas Fuel, and then very much struggled in that series. It was a 0-3 loss for them in that fashion. So now they're looking to have a bit of a bounce back, whereas Fuel's kind of already had theirs. So if they can get maps away from the Guangzhou Charge, I think that is going to be a very good indicator for the Dragons, at least moving forward. But 2 maps, just given what we have seen from them so far, it might be too much of an ask, because despite the loss to the side of the Infernal, who are looking incredible, just toppled Hangzhou Spark with relative ease, Guangzhou Charge is still a very dangerous team.
I mean, that would be an understatement. They haven't dropped a single map to anybody else outside of the Infernal a little bit earlier on. That was just yesterday, in fact. That was the only game that Guangzhou lost. Right. And you're completely right about Shanghai. It does seem like 2 maps would be too much of an ask. Maybe 1 map. It was just the 1 map for Shanghai they needed to win. I could see the world, possibly, but 2 seems like a bridge too far to take down this Charge squad, which has looked incredibly impressive. Even in their loss versus Infernal, they looked really good. 2-3 loss. Final map, closely fought the entire way through. Super competitive. Maybe the Esperanza a little bit left to be desired there for the Guangzhou Charge side, but I mean, the rest of the series is still so strong. So I don't even think Charge are necessarily that far behind Infernal. If you're doing a power ranking right now, regardless of where these teams actually finish for the qualified, Charge will most likely still be first, even though Infernal look better right now. Charge, they're pretty much neck and neck. I think they're just as good. Yeah,
they have been looking incredibly dominant here in their plain white tees. I love the crop on the cameras, because it just looks like they're now wearing jerseys.
I'm about to be cropped into a plain white tee as well if I'm not careful. Maybe you'll see later.
Well, we'll see how they fare, and if they're going to be able to rally back and not have, the downward spiral, the, fringes becoming undone, I suppose, after their loss to Infernal. But given what we've seen, it just does seem very unlikely. For Shanghai Dragons, though, all eyes on them to be able to continue to level up and have impactful performances, because, again, we continue talking about this from the first series into the second one. Flutta looking way improved when it came down to at least playing specifically the Winston. We saw a little bit of Junker Queen from him as well. But can that growth continue to be able to topple a team like the Charge?
I'll tell you what, despite talking about Infernal's qualification pathway here, let's talk a little bit about the Shanghai Dragons. They actually can escape last place. So out of the 6 teams, there's a world that if Shanghai take the 2 maps versus Charge, that would allow the Infernal to be first. Shanghai themselves would escape 6th place, and they'd be in 5th instead. They would win the tiebreaker versus the Seoul Dynasty. So there's a decent amount on the line here for the Dragons as well. And you'd probably ask, well, what's the difference between 5th and 6th for them? Seeding determines, where your placement is going to be in the 2 brackets later on in the knockouts, where ideally, well, I don't know if 5th and 6th are going to have a huge amount of difference, but they'll probably feel better about it at least. If there is a little bit of difference, Dragons should be playing for it for sure.
Hey, always good to see some Ford fans out in the audience there at the WTG Stadium. #1 Dallas fan, as well as a Spark on that sign. So maybe not the best one, the best feeling right now, given what
if you're
just witnessing.
A #1 fan of both squads?
Yeah. Fuel a little bit more to cheer for after this week.
I think so, and I think, well, you know, it's looking a little bit more tough for the Spark, but they'll still lock in third seed guaranteed at this stage. Fuel locked in number 4, so it really is just first and second, fifth and sixth that are still kind of being a toss-up at the moment. So it'll be very fine margins as we take a look at Brig stat comparison between Xerneas and Gangnam Jin. And I don't know if anything stands out so far. All pretty fairly even across the board. A little bit more damage done there by Xerneas. Some more elims. I think a lot of this is going to be attributed to the fact that Guangzhou have been flawless up until meeting Infernal. They've been winning, and when you're winning,
Right.
all of your stats are going to be just far more inflated and far better. Gangnam Jin, his stats will only have started climbing, I would say, in the past few matches, especially their one win versus Seoul Dynasty. But if anything, the fact that Shanghai have been losing the entire time and Gangnam Jin has had okay stats, it's probably a good sign for Gangnam Jin.
Yeah, I mean, when we see him going over to, things like the Brigade, it has been looking a lot more comfortable for him compared to when we do see him running the Lucio, which has been kind of necessitated, I suppose, just given the layout for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. So we'll see if that's going to crop up, or if he's widely going to be able to stick with the Brig, go for that nice IMAX ult. But taking a look at our map set, we'll kick things off on the Antarctic Peninsula, then we'll go into King's Row, Junkertown, Colosseo, Oasis, if we can go the distance. As Avril's been saying, the thing that we're looking for here for the side of Shanghai Dragons, and also for, if you're an Infernal fan, wanting them to be in that #1 spot, is for Shanghai to take away 2 maps. Kicking things off with a nice win on Control would certainly be a very fantastic start.
And the control, especially for an Antarctic Peninsula, really favors the brawl type compositions here. We've seen Piggy not shy away from jumping over to Orion when required. He's played some Ram there as well. Fleta, however, is mostly stuck to the Winston. And, I think a lot of people are asking, like, why the Shanghai Dragons not playing other compositions? Is Fleta Winston really the best they can play at the moment? For me personally, I think it's less about what Fleta's comfortable playing and more about what the other players need to succeed on, which is why you see Viper on the Tracer, Hisu on his Sombra, right? Traditionally speaking, Hisu was one of the better Sombras that we'd seen over the course of the history of the league. Viper's already proven himself to be a very competent Tracer player. He got to play the match for Tracer a little bit earlier. Eris is fantastic on the Ana, and Gangnam Jin, perfectly honest with you, much better on the Brig than the Lucio. So when you start to really cater to the other 4 plays, it makes a lot of sense why the Shanghai Dragons will be playing more Winston. It seems like the Guangzhou Charge, they'll be sticking through with the same as well.
We've had a lot of conversation surrounding Fleta, how he's going to perform Gangnam Jin with the Brigada, which he will be running here against Xerneas once more. But we also have to take into consideration Hisu versus Viper, because in that series that Shanghai Dragons were able to win, they were instrumental. With Piggy already going to be going forward, finds that first blood, taking down Gangnam Jin rather quickly. Does get antied out, but real damage going his way. Fleta going to be slept, so not too much threat. So with a straight headshot, we'll find Choi Se-won, but widely, it seems like the Charge should be in pole position to go ahead and get the first lockdown.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 trade so far. Point unlocked, Charge on top of it. Viper cops another shot, and that means Dragons are unlikely to make any forward movement at the moment. Play behind an ult Charge across the board as well. Oh, except for Hisu, obviously, he did not get that earlier frag, and Hisu will be the only one to have some level of impact from the Dragons to allow them to get a take on in. Can they get Viper in somehow? Can anybody make any sort of movements from the Dragons before the Dragon Strike is available?
It's obviously proven to be rather tough. Just trying to kind of circumnavigate the Charge, get around on this flank angle, and try to pinch in. But without a pick, it does prove to be more and more difficult. Anti-nade goes out. Viper goes down to it, and it finds both the supports. And Charge starting to rush forward off the back of that one. Hisu nowhere to go. Gonna end up getting taken down. Gives Jimmy a window of opportunity to try to catch up as far as that Dragon Strike is concerned. And, well, he's just 10% away from doing just that. Gangnam Jin and likely Iris go down in here as the final picks, as they're trying to keep him sustained, but there's just too much pressure being applied, so they will fall. Hisu on the respawn will be able to find Xerneas, so a minor window of opportunity to work with here, but Charge holding the point strongly, and now it's at 50%.
And the best part about that for the Charge is that not only is it over 50% on the cap, but they have all the ults now. And they didn't have to spend a single ult previously for that. It was simply a well-placed bayonet from far away, catches 3, including 1 frag, and the Charge at the full cleanup. Piggy jumps in deep, cleaned up some stragglers, and it's enough. Hisu now finally had that Dragon Strike. Piggy coming in first with the Nano.
Oh, Nano into the back, and the Pulse gets both. Piggy just rushing at Hisu, gives him a double salute as well. And just jumps back in to try to deal with Fleta. Still not yet built up towards that primal range. Just 7% away, but not much time left to play with here as it's 80% final fight territory. Shanghai Dragons need this flip, and they need it now.
Pigson superior to Flintstone at the moment. Probably not a surprise there, 90% as you said. It is the final fight coming through. Isu to Dragon Strike, Eris to Nano, or onto Fleta. That'll be the only real entry here. See if Jimmy can respond as well. He's got his own Dragon Strike and plenty of opportunity to get picks.
Snaps in, come back over towards the point, flooded down the half. Primal still held, Dragon Strike going across, trying to create some space here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. Anti now out, Primal gonna get popped, but Sleep immediately comes across from far away, puts him on the ground, and the Focus Fire continues to come in towards this Winston. Flooded down low, rallies out on either side, flooded, stunned, up, melted, far
and the
away,
Nano is too slow.
Kill.
Yeah. No Nano.
And it's just, look out here. It would seem COT starts to bleed away. A final touch in there. In all likelihood from the side of Viper. Pulse bombs, though, held from Choice A1. Well, go ahead, throw it out at the very end to claim an additional kill on the back end. But it's 100% to 0 as the Guangzhou Charge kick things off with a very clean win.
I felt like that was going bad for Dragons as soon as you see Fleta being forced to Primal first with no Nano being played in. You have to Nano first. I'm a strong believer in those types of situations. You want to get that engage in. Nano comes in, then the Primal afterwards. Take a look at this double kill from Choice 1 a little bit earlier. Okay, that was a boop by Piggy. I think Piggy landed on top of Eris, which then pushes him further back.
Oh, that's nasty.
What a brilliant combo. But in any case, unfortunate for Dragons. The Nano got cancelled. So the Nano came through from Eris, but Fleta dies instantly. Fleta was bionated twice, by the way. He's anti twice. And both times, Eris didn't really want to put the Nano in. The second time, you kind of just have to anyway. Possibly to try and save his life. He did. Didn't work out. We talked about Dragons thinking about playing something not Winston for the rest of Antarctica, where Brawl does get featured. Piggy, as I mentioned, does like to go, which was the Rhine. Fleta's response has got to be the Ram.
Isu here on the Sojourn, trying to click some heads, open things up for him, but I probably am a little bit concerned if I'm Fleta, because if there's anything that can ramp up damage and really burn down Ramatra, it's of course going to be Jimmy with that Symmetra. Wall comes up, but fully cut him off, so he's still backpedaling away, but the damage focus fire into Fleta is still looking so damn good. Xerneas in the meantime finds Viper, Fleta falls, and the Guangzhou Charge is going to have a very quick flip back here into their favor. Only 8% grabbed up by the Shanghai Dragons as the team kill comes in.
I still question whether Sojourn really is the ideal pick here. I mean, I'd still maybe prefer he should be in the Hanzo. Certainly, I think if it was on the other side, if this was Charge playing the same comp, you'd definitely see Jimmy on the Hanzo. In any case, the Shanghai Dragons...
break at all.
Well, getting past Piggy is certainly one part of the equation. Getting past the Choice A1 May wall is another part, which actually locked out Fleta earlier. That causes some problems.
Let's see if they're going to be able to pilot this to any relative success. Hisu, 72%. So, overclock years. Iris does have that Nano available.
Who do you even give it to at this stage? I mean, probably Fleta, but he doesn't have Annihilation. And typically, you want it for the combo. Fleta's just too far away from ult.
Okay, well, it is going to be Fleta. Punches coming across, trying to build up towards that Annihilation, but he's just going to be frozen in the Blizzard. Shut down. 15% shy. Flip did come through in the meantime. In all of the chaos and kind of fighting off the point, Shanghai Dragons managed to occupy it long enough to get the flip, so they gained 6%, but it's right back over the Charge. Once again, cresting over 50. Hold onto the sim wall, the barrier. He's
late
out of the back end. That's such a late death.
That's going to cost them time and position. You can see the Charge, full confidence, will walk forward a little bit further. And as Piggy's shield does start to break, you have to kind of respect the damage output of the Dragons, knowing that this is going to be the fight where more Dragons ultimates available. Now, we know that Viper doesn't quite have the May ultimate or the Blizzard, but I think for Charge, they have to play as if he does, because they'll have to assume that pretty much all of the other ultimates, minus a Nano, are up for the Dragons, including the Annihilation, which they have to get past. It would be really good for Piggy to have a Shatter here, because that is one way to shut down Dragons fast.
20% left to go. Fleta does get Charge pinned to the wall. And apparently taken off the side of the map, I would assume. So he's gone.
Sucks.
That's the Annihilation out. 10% left to go. Piggy now just 3% away from having that Shatter online. And with the Fire Strike, not quite going to clip, but he can just naturally tick this one up to have
touch.
it. Gangnam Jin going low. Needs to have this beat. Needs to be the turning point for him. Piggy just
ready for the
to
free
rotate
Shatter?
side to side, and they
Okay,
just
never mind. Well, there's a free Shadow. I mean, I kind of said it. It's Gangnam Jin had to touch, but then who touches after that? You kind of need your tank. So this is one of those situations where Fleta just dying off the rip is super awkward. I'm not even 100%. Okay, he got pinned, right? He got pinned. You're saying maybe he went off the map. Maybe he got pinned to a wall. In either case, he's gone. If he gets pinned by Piggy straight away, I mean, your biggest win con there is the Annihilation, Nano or not. And by the way, Jimmy, Piggy, and Farway finished that with no deaths, just in case anyone's curious. So you talk about one-sided. aside from the back cap that Dragons got, it pretty much was a 200-0.
Yeah, the 2 back caps effectively. They got the initial skirmish and then the lockdown, but this is a rough beginning. But here's hoping to some answer back here from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. We're going to go, of course, to a quick little break and some highlights, and then when we return, we'll see how they fare as we do get ready to go into King's Row. See whether or not that is going to be the staging ground for a run back. Alrighty, welcome back. The break was just about as long as the first map. Guangzhou Charge able to take it, as we said, in spirit, 200-0 across 2 rounds of Antarctic Peninsula for a very breezy start to our final series of the week. And now we'll get to see how Shanghai Dragons reply as we shift over into very familiar, very comfortable territory in King's Row for our escort map.
And if you're an Infernal fan trying to do a little bit of praying that Shanghai somehow gets 2 maps today, well, That first loss on Antarctic Peninsula probably not giving you a lot of confidence at the moment. Has to be a huge turnaround on Kings Row to sort of reinvigorate any of that confidence. And then what do we have for map 3 again? Junkertown. Maybe some Hisu magic. Hisu brought out the magic last time. It'd have to be that. We'll get started as soon as Jimmy feels like getting back in his seat. Just, you know,
I think we
whenever.
all know what Jimmy's doing, but he'll be back soon. And then we can carry on our merry way. What?
It's not that he's fast. It's called efficiency, guys. All right.
Exactly.
Enough of that.
Motion of the ocean and all that. But we'll go ahead and we'll just put a little portrait up just in case you forgot what he looks like, and then we'll get ready to go in. But we're anticipating, you know, more of the same from the Charge, which has kind of been straying away from playing Sombra, sticking to Jimmy on, you know, keeping Jimmy on things like the Hanzo, where he's just had an immense amount of impact so far. And there he is. He's back.
Yeah, I don't think they played any Sombra so far this year. Jimmy played a little bit of Sombra last year. No, did he? No, he didn't. He played Sojin last year. I can't remember. He did play Sombra at some stage, but definitely not this year. In fact, specifically in some of the interviews that he's done with the ex-Chengdu guys, he said that he's not 100% confident on Sombra at the moment, and he just prefers to carry on a hero like Hanzo. Or maybe I think we've seen a little bit of the Ash Widow as well, and obviously some of the Cassidy for the clutch if required, and that might come through at any stage as well.
All right. Well, we have our expected, you know, compositions and roles and everything for the side of the Guangzhou Charge. Shanghai Dragons, do they change anything up as we go into this map, or is it going to be more of the same? Just
back
keep
to Winston.
playing onto that Winston. That's what we're anticipating. I think that I think that anything else would be, unfortunately, just not quite at the same level.
At this point,
so, no.
There's no point, in my opinion, there's no point trying to play around Flitter's strengths and weaknesses. We don't even know what his good tanks are, if any. There's no point. You have to play around the strengths of the rest of the team. I think it is hugely important to make sure that Hisu and Viper are on the right heroes, to make sure Gangnam Jin's on a Brig instead of a Lucio, right? And I think those are the most important things. And if you can do that, then Dragons have a much better chance. This will still be a David versus Goliath situation where, you know, you're expecting Goliath to mumble here 3-0. But if there's any shot for David, the Shanghai Dragons, it's got to come through from Hisu and Viper, and they need to be on their best heroes.
All right. Come on, David, show me what you got.
Yeah, David.
Yep, Jimmy on the Hanzo. I think you're going to be matching with that. Winston is the double nade connecting onto Hisu and Gangnam Jin off the rip. Just give far away a nice little boost.
Imagine having a name like Goliath. If that was your real life name. How wild would that be?
And then you lose to some guy named David.
Yeah.
After a day at the office.
You better be a big dude as well. Like, I couldn't imagine if you were not quite a large person and you were called Goliath. That wouldn't make sense. But we'll see if Dragons can chop down some knees. If that's a good enough segue to see if they can take down the Charge. Maybe Piggy to start with. Not quite.
Okay. Well, they're looking for him. He's still very low, and Viper is going to be able to pursue for the kill. He's still going to be traded at the same time, but obviously significantly faster run back for him. Is Jimmy going to be antied out? Pressure comes through. Viper starting to heat up. This is the Viper that we were seeing in series past, where you're able to get that win over the side of the Dynasty, and that's the kind of impact that he needs to have if they want to be victorious.
Good
upside pressure here from Choice 1, but Pulse is going to be held.
Really big from Xerneas here to keep Viper away. That's a good stick from Choi. That will buy the Charge straight back into the point, allowing them to retake.
Still though, 2.5 ticks surrendered over. See if they can try to win this one out. The Nano on the way from Iris, just 4% away. Still coming through. Viper still holding up Pulse as well. Could be enough to break things open, and right now the time is looking very good for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. It looks like they do opt for a little bit of a reset as Viper gets into the back line. Xerneas going to be taken down, far away, under fire as well. Fills himself up just a bit as Flood is going to be taking a nap through the Nano. Gangnam Jin, however, pressured. Choice A1 finding a Brigitte of his own. Tracers trading kills in that regard, but Jimmy finds Hisu once more. And now it all starts to unfurl. I mean, Jimmy's just standing still. He says, yeah, I'm not going to jump around. I'm just going to try to track your movements rather than add my own into the equation. But in the end, it's going to be Piggy finding Viper. And the hold will come through. Half the time going to be drained down, but Shanghai Dragons could still make this work. Could still have a decent time banking the street space.
This to me, that fight was Farway staying alive. The sleep dart into Flitted to make sure that Farway doesn't die. He was on 1 HP as well. If Farway dies, I don't think Charge defend at all, because then there's no Nano. The Nano doesn't get to be put onto Piggy. It's no supports for Charge as well. They're already 2 ticks down. Charge lose A for sure. But Viper going crazy, killing Xerneas, unable to quite get far away because the brilliant sleep dart and also forcing Viper away. Super well played by the Charge, and they hold on.
Troy with under the pulse, just waiting for his opportunity. Plotting out 2 here onto the high ground. Pulse bomb goes in, but not going to find the stick. Jin set back far enough, but oh, Flooded going to be slapped, and even with the Primal, can't survive the headshot. Jimmy just drops down into the bubble, finds that elimination. In the meantime, Piggy wreaking havoc, trying to make sure that the players can't disengage back over towards the bus. Knocks Hisu right back over into the point. Somehow, while he's getting juggled, does get the headshot on Jimmy, so, I mean, credit to him. It's a damn good shot to be found, but the rally rolling, the rest of the Guangzhou Charge just look to hold the line. Yeah, but Hisu's got a better respawn, so there's an opportunity here. But Dragons can go now. Nano straight away. Please don't wait, Dragons. You have a small opportunity here. Jimmy's still on his way back, and if there's any chance, you got to make it happen. You can play off the tempo. Whip shot, the nice flood of the entry. Primal's still going to be held. Nano's there as well. Dragon Strike just trying to clear out towards the archway. Keep them zoned back. Answering Dragon Strike, clears a point. Choice A1 keeps it occupied as best as he possibly can. So very close, 91% established now. Piggy going to end up getting dropped. Xerneas down to a sliver far away. Trying to juggle healing and putting some damage out onto Hisu to shove him back as he's natted up, but the cap is going to be coming through. The Shanghai Dragons now have 3 minutes for the street space. With Jimmy falling, the rest of the Charge just looking to exit back over towards B, but wisely, Dragons are able to pursue forward. They look for a couple additional staggers, but not sure if they're going to be able to find too much else.
Good additional sleep there by Fireway just to ward off the rest of the Charging Dragons members. Realize the irony in that sentence, but Flitter on 1 HP surviving is also super important. Look, that fight was huge coming through from Hisu and Viper. Once again, you take Piggy down, who crucially dies just before Nano is available. So Fireway only gets a Nano as Piggy dies. If he managed to get the Nano to Piggy, could be a different story. Could be looking at full hold. So very quickly annihilating Piggy is exactly the game plan there for Dragons now. Let's see if Viper gets another stick. Brilliant stuff.
Faraway taken down. The tempo right now from the side of the Shanghai Dragons just a bit too much for the Guangzhou Charge. Just can't get into a nice defensive position. I mean, Jimmy just diving in the back, hoping that he could find some kind of straight pick before getting taken out, but comes up shy. Hisu gets that kill. Choice A1 just waiting on the lurk, trying to get in behind, trying to find something with this pulse to open things up. And, okay, he's going to get it.
You take those.
He certainly
doesn't know what hit him.
And that should be the Charge being able to grab control. Choice A1. He goes back over. Hisu will put him down, but 2 kills found as he just contested with Viper over by the Mega Pack. And Choice A1 just single-handedly basically brings them into a nice hold on the cart.
Yeah, because otherwise it was going to get tricky, right? You have a Shanghai Dragons with a Dragon Strike available. If the payload gets too deep, you simply drag in the payload, and you could force a C9 there, which is very tricky. Right, minimum, you force a Nano from Fireway finally onto Piggy, which is going to be an ult-for-ult trade, and with this player trade, Dragons will be looking to reset. Nothing else to do here. They'll be under 1 minute by the time we come back from this pause. So it's coming through from the Piggy side of things. I don't think there's anything huge to read at the moment. What do we have? Like 1:17 left on the clock. Dragon Strike available, Nano available on both sides. Flitter on 73, Piggy on 95. Yeah, probably favor Charge here. If Dragons were going to get any amount of real work done, they had to get it on the last fight where Choi got 2. But obviously, Choi had some huge impact there with Pulse on to Gangnam Jin and a further kill to follow through as well. Now Dragons are likely going to be out of time.
Well, if they can get that extra minute and a half bump up, maybe they can get something done. Obviously, just getting the cap on B would still very much embolden their chances of being able to have a successful hold and stop the Guangzhou Charge from pushing through into the next round, into the next half, I should say. But we'll have to just wait and see. Waiting on a reason to see what's going on here as far as the pause is concerned, but hopefully it's nothing too significant, and then we can get back into the game here relatively quickly. So as soon as we receive word, we will let you guys know and keep you nice and up to date.
Well, Piggy's still there, so that's good news. No one's walked away. And whatever, it could be a ping thing, who knows. In any case, hopefully it's not an internet issue or anything. Okay. Otherwise, like... who's the GM for Guangzhou that would have to come in? I've actually looked that up.
It's actually still Avala. She's on both, so she would summon for both teams.
Oh, she's just managing everything.
All right. It was just a minor frame drop issue there from Piggy's side, but it looks like everything is taken care of, and now we're right back into the game. So as you were talking about, just over a minute remaining here for the side of the Dragons. And
fairly equal ultimates here as well. So the small advantage that the Dragons did have basically equalized on the Charge side, and Charge of good positioning. Payload is not quite out of the choke yet either, so not even the best payload positioning, which means Hisu might have to drag in early just to allow them to walk up. Are they flanking? Big flank time? Oh,
Looks like they're trying to figure out where they want to go. Piggy now pushing forward, nanoed up, dives in, puts some damage down to the Gangnam Jin. Dragon Strike trying to clear pressure from the front, far away, will get caught up in it, ends up getting taken down, but Hisu dead off the back of the ult. Now Fleta 2% away from the Primal, gets headshot. Jimmy finds that kill. Even anteed up, Piggy just does not care. The Primal expires.
Nano Viper,
both
please.
supports locked into a corner. Gangnam Jin pops the rally to try to stay alive. Nano comes in, Iris keeping him in this fight. Hisu now swapping over to Sombra, trying to join back in a little bit faster, and Piggy can be taken down by the sleep dart, not something that you see very often. Right back over onto the cart here are the Shanghai Dragons, continuing to press forward. Flooded going to be rejoining any moment now. There he is. Primal still at the ready. Gets anteed out. No ult to speak of. Hack on the choice A1. Gangnam Jin goes in, kills him off with the shield bash, and it seems like the Shanghai Dragons might just be able to scrape by with this point B cap.
no contest. Not looking like it. Piggy has to go. It's got to be Piggy. He's there.
Gets in there. Sisu trying to pressure here from the flanks. Xerneas pushed away. The cart again pushing forward. They get zoned back far enough by the members of the Shanghai Dragons. Gangnam Jin with a nice whip shot to keep them at range. Viper having to recall, but the cap is there. A minute and a half added to the time bank. Shanghai Dragons in with a pinch to potentially be able to get this cap at the end of it all. Xerneas with a quick flick of the shield, manages to turn, blocks out that pulse bomb, finds Viper. Choice A1 comes to the rescue. They pressure out Flood, and now the cart can be held at the corner.
Good team play by Charge to stay alive there, because they could have been mega staggered, which would have been huge for Shanghai. Speaking of it being huge for Shanghai, Piggy couldn't stay on the payload, had to jump backwards. You needed to see Xerneas, or Choice One, take up the heat on the front lines to keep the payload contested, but there was like 1 meter left or something, so as soon as someone leaves and no one else is there, you're going to have the cap come through. But this situation now is looking a little bit tricky. I don't know how Hisu dies. He should have been in spawn sniping.
Yeah.
Maybe he even died in spawn. Whatever other players are currently out of spawn are just being picked off one by one by the Charge, so not only have they survived up against being staggered, now they're just, or at least in that moment, kind of spawn camping the Dragons.
He's still making up his mind. Flipped off the Hanzo, now back over onto it. Definitely seems like the more necessary pick here for them. Even just the recons to try to scout out.
I got no time.
Force the recall, but yeah, as you say, time is
This is a full OT push, start to finish.
12 seconds. I mean, look where the card's already rolled back to. It's right at the start of it. Not even at that corner, so all that distance taken away. Flooded trying to dive in, trying to create some space, gets anteed out down to 200. Anti will expire, but Piggy still wreaking havoc for it. Dragon Strike comes across. Jimmy looking to create some space here for his squad. Piggy now going to be taking a nap, but Fleta anteed, sliver of HP remaining for him. Hisu finds Jimmy, and Fleta will be kept alive. The Nano comes across, they boost him back up to full HP. Charging forward over towards the Charge's spawn spots now. Viper, pulse bomb in the pocket. Xerneas is taken down, ult not yet needed. Fleta joins up onto the high ground.
Oh, good kill.
Zap across Farway taken down. That's the supports now out of the fight, and a considerable amount of space open for the Dragons.
Yeah, time to push here, but there's still so much distance to make through, and that means the Charge will get a full wave of respawn. Xerneas so far away are down. Charge can wait for this one slightly. Jimmy trying to snipe out a spawn. That is a stick.
Oh.
Is it enough? Not quite.
It's a second too late, but as they push out, an anti-nade from Iris finds Xerneas. They're in position.
Capable.
Now the cart nearly there. 2 meters left to go. Piggy going to be taken down far away. Throws out the Nano on the choice they want as he tries to occupy this card. Pops the recall, finds one. Hisu going to be eliminated. Isn't going to be enough though. He's doing his damnedest, but down so low. The card's opened up. The push comes through. Somehow, some way, the Shanghai Dragons do manage to persevere. Viper going huge. Hisu as well, finding some crucial picks with that Hanzo. They managed to get to the end. No time in the bank, but still a finish on King's Row.
I mean, this is impressive because I don't think we really expected Dragons. I did not expect Dragons to finish this map. They had no time left to play through. Payload had rolled back, and to be honest, didn't really roll forward at all either. They didn't really push it. They were kind of being spawn camped by Charge at the start of C, and off of an OT-only push, they still managed to cap it. There was one critical moment in there where Dragons nearly had the push fall apart. That was Fleta on 1 HP being antied again. Eris is waiting for the anti to subside so he can go for the Nano. And we've seen that same moment occur on A where Fleta just dies. No Nano to come on through. Eris then panic Nano somebody else like Gangnam Jin, I guess. And the Dragons end up losing the fight. This time Fleta lives. He doesn't get chased down. Eris puts the Nano into him. He's instantly back in the fight. And they get both Farway and Xerneas. And off the back of those two picks, the zap onto Farway, I believe, specifically allowing the second kill to come through. That's how Dragons got the most of the momentum. And then they just start pushing towards spawn. I even respect the Viper, spawn stick onto Piggy of the pulse bomb, because it just stops Piggy from contesting. It stops him from doing anything. He doesn't die off the back of that one. Well, he dies eventually, but he has to go back into spawn, come back out. Dragon comes through from Hisu, and they just get locked in spawn. So Dragons play the tempo side of that push extremely well, but only because Fleta didn't die at 1 HP. He lived.
Shades of the Dragons of old, managing that push in OT. Let's see how deep this goes. It's Charge now, starting on their own attack. It's going to be mirrored across the board here between both of these squads. Isu with defensive sight lines on the Hanzo. Let's see if he can have as much early impact as we did see from Jimmy. Because right now, quite a bit of damage is getting pushed out. Choice-A-Wan, though, coming around the side. Right here, hugging along the wall, gets himself onto the point, keeping things occupied, keeping Flood under some pressure, but Piggy as well, just under just as much pressure. Falls low, and suddenly, Xerneas and Choice-A-Wan both get taken down.
Yep.
The counterparts of the Brig and the Tracer coming up trumps here for the Dragons. They find the initial volley of kills.
I mean, Choice-A-Wan has been playing out of his mind over the course of this season so far, and Viper had a slow start, but Viper is definitely catching up now. He's going toe-to-toe with Choi and then some. Really, again, it comes down to Hisu and Viper. Those are the key members for the Dragons to perhaps get them some map wins today. And again, they only need the 2. Infernal fans hoping for 2, Dragons fans hoping for 2 as well. So far, first defense good. 1 minute, 5 seconds gone.
I think
Ultimate's coming online. Eris is... You're hoping for 1 at a time.
That's fair. Gungam Jin, though, going to be taking out Choice-A-Wan. Bit of a whiffy pulse. No one really nearby to try to receive that one, but it seems like it might not matter too much. Flood has managed to find a parting gift here on the Xerneas. Is Isu going to be nanoed up? We'll see how much value you can find. Already 1 kill. This point occupied for now, but Peggy taken low. Can't quite find that kill before he falls, but Flood on the rejoin will go ahead and claim him. 1.5 ticks just about established here for the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but down a tank. Here's going to be taking a nap in the meantime, but it seems like not really anybody in position to try to find that kill. Now Nano going to be once again used on the Choice-A-Wan. This time just trying to push through and get this cap across. Gets himself into the back line, recalls away from the sleep dart. Here's unable to lock him down, but in the meantime, Viper finds another pulse. Xerneas taken out, flooded with the primal, takes out far away. That's the support's gone. Jimmy cleaved down. Flood is having a whale of a time right now. Once again, they staved them off. Now 1 minute and 56 remaining.
I don't know about the Nano coming on through. I think Charge should have just been, you know, just be patient, wait for Piggy to respawn. You traded Piggy for Hisu. I think that's a decent trade for the Charge, because it's going to take longer for Hisu to come back than it is for Piggy. Just wait for Piggy, then Nano Piggy instead. Your Nano Choi, Nano Trace is okay, but you couldn't do enough in that sort of situation. Dragons just hold on, and now they're in a good position to potentially hold if they can get past all of these ultimates. Charge are stacked up, 4 ults.
They are. Taking a little bit, but Iris nearly with the Nano. Hisu sends out the Dragon Strike. Again, just looking to clear the point as much as possible as Piggy goes up onto the high ground to keep things contested. Rally now rolling on both sides. Piggy drops down, just looking to really disrupt this back line. Trying to juggle them around, but he's not putting them in positions for kills to be found. Nano now goes out. Iris pushing Flood up forward. The Pulse Bomb, however, finds him, and then he's overextended and ends up getting taken down. Iris, however, with 1. Jimmy eliminated far away on a sliver of HP. Choice-A-Wan as well, dashing around, grabs that mini pack to try to stay sustained. Viper keeping him at arm's length. Pulse Bomb now online for him. The ult's very much exhausted. The stick comes in. Viper somehow finds Xerneas once more. Takes him down. Piggy this time, he does receive the Nano, but I don't know if it's going to be good enough. Tick up continuing. Piggy slept on the corner. Nano lobbed in, finds 2. Piggy has to disengage. Is shoved all the way back over towards the archway, and far away is caught out alone. Suddenly with 30 seconds remaining. 2 ticks established. Shanghai Dragons, they might be able to pull off this full hold.
I mean, they might just do it because they survived up against the 4 big ultimates there. They've done it. They just need to win 1 more fight here, and Viper is monstrous in this lobby. He just gets stick after stick after stick. Pulse Bomb Prince of Viper coming on through. Clutch for the Shanghai Dragons. Eris as well landing some beautiful bionates. He actually caught Farway in early as double early on. And yeah, Fleta gets his primal. They can delay for a long time.
Nano Primal about to be available. Fleta cannot die right now. Nano goes out first. Now he's got the Primal in the back pocket. Sleep does come across. Viper taken down. Piggy able to find 1, but it's traded out very quickly, and now traded up. Both DPS players eliminated the side of the Guangzhou Charge. That's Choice-A-Wan having that Pulse Bomb. Dragon Strike again to try to clear the point up to 83%, but nobody can get back on to keep it contested. And my lord, what a response from getting absolutely bodied on Antarctic Peninsula to full holding the Guangzhou Charge after a miraculous push to point C cap. Shanghai Dragons pick up their first map win here in the series.
And don't anyone dare say C9 there. Piggy was sleeping, and both the supports of the Guangzhou Charge were being battered around by Flitter's Primal. No one could touch. Not a single person.
C9.
So, I mean, yeah, they were losing that fight. They were heavily losing that fight. And again, it's Viper with a beautiful kill to start things off with. I mean, this is the Shanghai Dragons, again, playing what they need to be playing in terms of what the players are good on in terms of their respective hero picks. It doesn't matter what Fleta plays. This is what I'm saying. Forget about Fleta on the Winston. Look at Viper, look at Hisu, look at Golem Generis. They need to be the ones on their best heroes, and when they get to play their best heroes and actually get to individually perform, you get to see some magic.
Well, magic it is. And the Infernal fans breathing a sigh of relief, but there's still one more map to go if they want to secure that top spot. Guangzhou Charge is seemingly looking a bit overconfident, I suppose. You know, going for these nanos on Choice A1 to try to open things up rather than playing it out patiently, saying, oh yeah, you know, if we just nano the Tracer, Choice A1 can dip them. It does not happen. The hold is successful, and Shanghai Dragons tie things up at 1-1. We'll see if that's going to be a wake-up call now for Charge after a very hot start. This has got to be feeling like sleeping with a wet blanket. But what we want to see is more of this from Viper, from Hisu. Continue to just show up. Either way, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have Junkertown to see who will take the lead in the series, so don't go anywhere. Well, we are back after King's Row, a push to the end of the map in overtime. from B to C, Shanghai Dragons make it to the end of the map and then full hold the Guangzhou Charge. So a massive turnaround after getting, I mean, frankly, bodied in the first map. They find themselves now tied up as we get ready to go into Junkertown 1-1. One of these teams is going to be moving up to match point. The Infernal and Shanghai Dragons fans are going to be keeping their fingers crossed that it's the team in red coming up victorious on the opposite side of this map.
I mean, no one told me that when we're talking about Dragons, we're talking about Charizard here. Just decide to wake up and start thrashing around and actually frag out, clutch up. How do you cap on C the entire way in OT? Really, that shouldn't be possible, and yet here we are. Then a full hold right after that. That was incredible as well versus the Guangzhou Charge, a team that, as you've mentioned, bodied them on Antarctic Peninsula. Didn't look close, but however, I think some inklings of, you know, some light of hope, some rays of hope was there for Dragons, because you did still see some good moments from Hisu and Viper despite losing on Antarctic Peninsula. And then that gets translated in a much bigger way on King's Row, where between the two of them, Fled is staying alive more so this time, being able to receive a couple nanos. Ares hitting some really good bionates as well. And as I've mentioned, I think Gangnam Jin just looks much better on the Brig than the Lucio. This is why Dragons play this comp, and this is the only real way that I think Dragons have a shot. And they're kind of proving it right now. Let's take a look at this Ana head-to-head.
Yeah, I mean,
note the deaths.
Here's just coming out in pretty much every metric. Only 2 deaths, as you're pointing out here. 10 bionades on just a single map. Yeah, it just felt like everybody on the side of Shanghai Dragons went from looking the most uncomfortable, like they went from like sitting in like back of the plane Spirit Airlines to first class on like Asiana. You know, it would just map over map. The comfort from them on King's Row was so different.
It's not like the pressure on Ares wasn't there either, because when you look at some of the, you know, the damage output of Choi especially, guy ended up on 10,591 damage per 10, which, you know, for a team that was losing is an incredible amount of damage. The really fun stat is a 1 minute 1 second time for ult earned. That's an unbelievably quick, even for a pulse bomb. That's very fast for a pulse bomb as well. If he managed to get that 1 second earlier or 2 seconds earlier and get it sub 1 minute, that would be like a record. So very well played by Choi despite losing.
All right, well, Junkertown now. Staging ground. Let's see if Piggy tries to force Fleta off of this Winston, or Fleta won't even care about it and just sticks to maximum comfort. We'll have to just wait and see. It's also a potential opportunity for those Widowmakers to come back into play.
What did he should play here last time? He did play some Widow. That was versus the Soul Dynasty, as well as some Sombra. Now, the biggest question will be for me, does he go back to the Sombra for this map, or will he stay on the Hanzo? Because Hanzo has been pretty solid. I think we all know that Fleta most likely stays on the Winston here, even though we have seen a little bit of... this is all the way back in week 1 now, so I don't know how much I'll keep referring back to it, but the Fleta Sigma did make a brief appearance, but I highly doubt it would come through once more. Bigger question will be for Piggy. Piggy can definitely come through on the Sigma. That's something that he's very comfortable on.
All right. Let's see what they piece together as we get ready to go into it. Piggy already going to be showing us that Sigma. For the side of the Shanghai Dragons, we'll have to just wait a little bit longer, but right now, Fleta moving over towards Diva. Hisu, as well with this Bastion, would be quite efficient in breaking down these barriers. But it looks like they're going to opt to match a bit with Viper going over to Genji.
Yeah, that's a specialty as well. Viper's signature pick. Despite how good he's looked on the Tracer, his favorite hero is by far the Genji. Wow, so Fleta's going to square up. He's going to square up versus Piggy in the Sigma matchup. That is going to be a little bit scary, considering how good Piggy is on this hero.
It's a bold move.
I mean, at one stage, Piggy was... I can't remember who. I'm pretty sure there was some commentary about Piggy being a one-trick Sigma at one point, just to show how good he is at this particular hero.
Yeah, I mean, I was making some Lord of the Flies references, of course, Piggy using the boulders and whatnot. See if our younger audience members catch that reference at all. For now, Cart going to be moved into the death zone with relative ease. Not much forward contention here from the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but now they can start to lock it in place. Of course, A1 just trying to keep Viper honest, applying some pressure here off the side.
You'll notice that not only is it the Viper Genji, but Gangnam Jim's still on the Lucio here, which is also fine. Not at least to the Brig. Just still fine. Well, it's not fine if he's dead. It's going to be Jimmy with first blood.
And Xerneas finding Viper as well to boot. And Fleta now going to be taken down with that much less support. So push around the back, catch Hisu. And the cart going to remain locked in this position between the two buildings.
Hisu went for a bit of a journey there. You think he was a defending player, but he's actually on the attack. And with that, both Viper and Gunham would change. If you play the Genji Brig version of the Sigma Com, you're looking for a lot more close range action, obviously, as the Brig would imply. Looking for a little bit more, you know, close range brawling, some pocketing for the Genji as well. But the double flex support version of the BAP and the Zen, definitely a lot more common, I think, in this particular mirror. But it does mean Gangnam Jin and Viper are going to be further behind in optics, especially Viper, considering Choi's already got a pulse.
Those get tagged down a little bit low, but Widely's going to be okay. Just continuing to push some damage out onto Fleta. Not under any real threat, though, until he moves down onto the low ground.
Window.
He's, in the meantime, catches a glimpse of Xerneas there for a moment. Goes for the jump shot, and Jimmy says, don't you dare. Forces him back down onto the low ground. In the meantime, Charge get themselves up above the cart to keep it locked in position.
Choi 1 HP there. Good angle by Ares. It's going to force Jimmy off. Okay, Jimmy nearly still had a shot at the Hisu. Gets a bit of a warning lick there. The Shanghai Dragons get their way through. The payload surely should be moving forward now.
Okay, poison trap from Hisu finds far away, as he was pretty much in danger anyway. A lot of pressure being applied by Viper in that moment, but the rest of the team now suffering as Ares and Gangnam Jin both can get picked up off the back of the flux. The kills come through. Once again, a reset that's necessary. Ults are getting built up here from the side of the Shanghai Dragons, but it feels like they're going to have to maybe try to dump everything just to keep themselves in this one and be able to get the push onto A, and even then it might not be enough. Fleta needs to have a big flux.
We'll see if he can, because Charge might not be grouped up for it at all. You can see the Charge are playing fairly open in terms of players being on different flanks. Choi's obviously going to be on a bit of a flank here. Jimmy's sniping super far back. The supports are going to be spread all the way on the high ground. Hisu's been trying to find Jimmy. I think Jimmy's had Hisu's number once, and Hisu's not really been able to take Jimmy down. And with the infrasight coming through, this is going to be a bit of a pause. But it could flux this, but I think Dragons will just respect the window and back out.
Quite possibly.
They stuck in a room?
Gangnam Jin alive right now. He doesn't want to be forced to use this Transcendence. Mortality field does get cleared up. It looks like enough pressure is pulled off, so he's able to survive. Flux from Fleta finds Xerneas in the meantime. Far away, going to be taken away. That's going to be both the supports now gone. First time one with the pulse, not able to find anything. Piggy completely stuck in the health pack room. Ends up falling. Given the run backs here, it seems like getting any kind of touch, any kind of recontest, just doesn't seem likely. So this should be the cap coming through in the next 2.5 minutes, about to be added to the time bank here for the Dragons.
Yeah, no one's fast enough. Not a single member from the Charge group to make this in time. Or maybe Choi, but you really want to risk it at this stage? Probably not. Actually got kind of tricky there for the Dragons, because they were stuck in a room, and you were right about Gangnam Jin maybe being forced to trans, because it was looking pretty dire. If Gangnam Jin dies there, or if another person dies, I think that push is not going to be successful at all. But you wanted to see Flitter come through with a decent flux. Gets the backline, both Xerneas and far away dead. That's exactly the start you need. The Shanghai Dragons with the cap. Time is fairly limited, though. I don't think you're going to really finish the map with this type of time remaining. However,
we said that on King's Row.
They did make some magic happen on King's Row, albeit that did happen. So keep that one in the back of your head.
Jimmy pressured out, drops down, does have that mega pack to play off of. Just trying to keep tabs on him. Tries to line up the shot, but it's just way too elusive here. Is Viper. Gangnam Jin also comes in off the flank to reinforce. So now finding choice A1. It's going to be DPS players now taken away. Xerneas falling. Piggy left on his lonesome forward here onto the cart. Eventually he's just going to fall. Moves in. Health pack, I believe, take it away and eventually will crumble. So 30-second fight. They're going to once again start pushing forward.
Yeah, huge from Viper there.
Gangnam Jin has not had to use this Transcendence at all.
And so he should not, because you want to save that one for the flux. And that's so huge for the Dragons. The fact that they've not been forced to use a trans, not been pressured. They have been pressured, but Dragons have been, you know, confident enough to realize they don't need to pop it. You can just survive, and that's exactly what they've done. This is a great movement. Now, this is where you want to make up for a lot of lost time. Charge, though. We've got to get this touch going.
He noted Transcendence out early here from Xerneas. Jimmy does get the better of Hisu. Here's barely trying to stay alive here, but does manage to actually be sustained by the trans from Gangnam Jin and also find an answering kill. Thinking, however, going to get caught, or catch his flood, I should say. It's that kill. Xerneas now taking down to the pulse from Viper. It's scrappy. It's messy. Viper down to a sliver of HP. Piggy eventually able to punish him. Just continues to play forward all on his lonesome, trying to hold this cart, gets himself into the corner. Gangnam Jin pushes forward, tries to take him down. With the arrival of Iris, they will be able to get rid of Piggy.
The cap.
The cap comes through. It's a minute and 50 seconds now to try to finish the map. Viper going to be swapping back over to the Genji.
Support or combat. It's Gangnam Jin and Eris clutching through there. They just killed Piggy. They were basically the only ones left alive for the Dragons, I believe. Flitter dies, by the way, despite the trance, because the trance came in too early. Gangnam Jin pops it maybe about a second early. And because of that, once they drop down from Piggy's flex, and that's the part that actually does damage, the trance was gone. So Flitter never actually got healed properly off the 50% damage. That's how Flitter died. But yeah, Gangnam Jin and Eris did a great job there to continue the cap regardless. So we're going to get a C point here. This time they actually have a bit of time to play through.
Other way up, trying to keep this high ground contested with Jimmy, Hisu. Both of the infra sites rolling. Everyone perfectly aware of where the others are at. Flux comes out from Flutter, but he gets stunned out of it. There's the accretion. Knocks him down, keeps the rest of the team safe, does Piggy. But onto the low ground, the healing's coming through. They keep him sustained, but now with Hisu gone, Iris as well falling. The Charge can just rush forward and look for some additional picks. The support's gone. Viper, Gangnam Jin trying to stay alive, but Choi Se-wan able to go ahead and pick up that elimination at the very end of it all. 40 seconds now remaining. Shanghai Dragons, they have more of that magic to pull out.
2/3 though they've capped through, so it's a good distance. They don't have to start from the exact beginning of C. But what a great play by Piggy. Shutting down the flux of Flatter was super important because Flatter wanted to cancel the window, or not cancel, but counter the window of far away, which is important. Piggy realized that opportunity to get the cancel on the flux. He does exactly that and will now have a flux of his own to work through a short order. Let's see where Dragon set up this window. It's already been played through. That's a very shallow window angle. Doesn't see much at all.
Yeah. Gonna open things up. Again, pressure applied to Jimmy. Viper desperately trying to find that kill, but Choi Se-wan gets Iris in the meantime. The back end of the window, Flood is stunned up, taken down, and yeah, unfortunately, the transcendence from Gangnam Jin is just far too late. A little bit of extra meterage here at the very end. The melee kill does come through, but now Choi Se-wan's in on top of him, and the deflect will finish him off. That'll be the cleanup. So still, most of the map taken after nearly being full held. Once again, Shanghai Dragons getting close to the end of the map. Need to have another strong defense as the blade will be pulled just to go ahead and finish the deal. OT bleeds down.
I think they still got about a 6 meters extra on that last fight. So Dragons, they went, was it like 68 to 74? Still managed to squeeze through a few extra bits of meterage. It's distance though. They didn't finish the map. Well, 130, so they can't be an OT. 130 for C means you basically have to do it in one go, and they couldn't do that. They lost the fight already. And this was the flux a little bit earlier on, where Farway dodged the flux, but still ends up dying anyway. And importantly, Gangnam Jin didn't end up needing to pop trance there while killing everybody. And this is
he was holding on to that for so long.
And rightfully so, again, because he didn't have to use it. So good on him for doing that. Gangnam Jin playing something a lot more comfortable. Everyone knows him. Back on his flex support days, he spent a full season and a bit now playing Lucio, but originally a flex support player, which is why when you look at Dragons playing double flex comps like this Zen Vap, they should look good. Eris traditionally one of the better, if not the best, Vaps that we've seen historically as well. So a lot of strengths being shown by Dragons.
Well, now need to see that defensive strength once more. They can do what we saw on King's Row. They're in with a pinch. So that'll be the two maps confirmed. But Guangzhou Charge definitely getting the better of them there. Hisu gonna be playing forward here with the Sombra once again. So no Widowmaker battle. See if Jimmy decides to swap once they realize that it's gonna be the Sombra Tracer.
I think it'll be hard to keep the backline alive for Piggy here, so maybe towards a Diva or a Winston here. I would have said Diva would be okay as well, but the Winston is obviously acceptable. We're into a dive mirror. Outside of Jimmy, obviously not going to mirror the Sombra for reasons already explained. And if Jimmy has his way, he won't have to.
Already really great forward pressure here. Keeping Hisu honest. Gunning him back off that flank on the right-hand side. Dive in from Fleta now. Knocked down to about half HP. Bubble does help escort himself backwards. Around the corner into safety, but Choi-Se-wan now pursuing forward as the car joins in. And there's just so much focus fire. Fleta absolutely disappears. Now Gangnam Jin going to be taken down. Iris to fall. And that's going to be point A capped. It's just about a minute burned.
Especially considering Hisu and Viper, the last one's dead, that is going to mean that they can't be the ones touching here. It has to be Fleta. He's already swapping over towards the Hanzo, which means he's gearing up for the stage. Dragons are going to give up A. That is a super quick time for an A cap. How much time to work with? 5:22. Oh, that's a lot. And that is a brilliant shot.
Yeah. It's the recon reveals too. Body shots across, and I mean 5 minutes to try to work down. It's definitely possible in this phase of the map, but and to get as much time away from the charge as humanly possible, if not get this cap and deny the B cap in general.
I mean, look how scared you have to be if you're Gangnam Jin. You just cop an arrow here. Viper nearly gets shot there as well. Dragon Strike easily available. They can continue pushing their way through. You can just shove the Dragons off their high ground with the Dragon Strike alone.
Xerneas, though, just get pressured out. Let it diving in. The Nano, Viper finding the kill. Pulse Bomb goes through as well. Manages to recon, stay alive. Even with such little HP. Choice1 eventually does find him, but damage very much dealt. No supports. Guangzhou Charge having to go for the reset, and they're looking for Jimmy, but barely manages to pull back, get some healing just before Flutter would have claimed him.
You could just tell that pipe was going to burst as well. The pressure was building up so high, but the Dragons, they needed to be able to release, and all that is going to come through on Viper. Double supports again. This time Hisu will find first blood. We're talking about Jimmy getting some snipes. Hisu responds.
Dragon Strike out. Choice1 down. He's some zoned back for the time being. Flutter again, just jumping up, trying to get Iris' Nano as much as humanly possible. So the poke and broad, the heals come through. He stays safe, still has the primal as well. He's nearly knocked down. Charge desperately, just kind of struggling to get themselves into position to actually get this push going once again. Rally's going to be rolling. Gangnam Jin going to be the focus fire. Goes so very low, but the heals will come through to keep him alive. Jimmy, however, finds a headshot. Takes out Hisu. Now that the rally is over, both supports will fall in the back end. It's going to look like a team kill coming in as, yep, Flutter will fall. Guangzhou Charge. Took about a minute and a half, but if not 2 minutes, it will be able to push this forward once again.
That was tricky for Gangnam Jin. Nearly died during the rally. Eris 15 away from the Nano as well, so couldn't quite keep up. Once far away drops in the Nano, you need Eris to be able to respond. Not enough healing there. Isu going over towards the Sim just to allow his players to TP forward, which means they are going to contest. Viper stick.
Oh, and again, just finding Xerneas time and time. Could be the potential opener here, but now Piggy able to zap him down. And with Hisu falling, it seems like that should be it. So, last-ditch effort looking for the hold. With the kills coming through. Looks like it's just going to be a minor little time by here. With the Shanghai Dragons inevitably go back over the spawn.
Primal.
Primal's popped by Piggy. What? That seems like an overextension.
That's it's definitely costly. You've just overpaid for that price of entry onto C, I think. Charge lost confidence there. Maybe Piggy lost confidence there. Maybe thought they weren't going to cap. That's the only explanation. I think even if Piggy dies, it's not a big problem. They definitely had that one under lock.
Yeah, I mean, there's, what, 3 people dead when he commits to it, and he's just diving in to try to take down a support. Definitely a bit puzzling. Very much could be the initial, butterfly effect coming through if they can't get this cap at the very end.
Speaking of that cap, look at the payload distance. Look how far the payload is moving. We're already on to last fight, basically, here.
Shanghai Dragons need to dig in for Hisu. Taken out. Choice1 gets the pulse stick. Flutter taken low. Forced to use the primal now. Gets slept in the back line. Does get woken up rather quickly, but the focus fire is still looking so very good. It looked like just at the very last moment when he was going to be able to escape. Far away. Gets a shot through. Finishes the job. Jimmy sustained. The cart continues to push. Recon revealing. Dragon Strike at the ready. Spots Viper. Looks to take him down. Can't quite steady the arrows, though. Viper lives to fight another day. The pulse again. Can he find it? Lobs it in. This time Xerneas is able to stay alive. The Nano goes across to far away. Was very much worried that Xerneas was going to get eliminated. He does pop it. Rally's rolling on either side. He's
good dragon.
The Widowmaker needs to find some headshots and needs to find them now. Flutter swaps over to the Diva, but he's going to be broken out of the mech. The Nano goes over to Viper, and he needs to find some value immediately. Shields raised. Xerneas antied out, but he's just kiting back where the shield's still raised. Gangnam Jin with a whip shot, able to find him in the very end. There's just a meter left to go. The kills continue to fly. Hisu taken out. The support's under fire from the side of the Dragons.
Jimmy again.
Taken down. Viper able to find one, but he needed so much more. It's not going to come to fruition. The Guangzhou Charge will be able to persevere. They push through to the end. Some decent time buying from the Dragons, but that 5-minute 20 start for the second phase of Junkertown seemingly just way too much. Guangzhou Charge now take the lead 2-1.
Yeah, we thought Dragons did well on their attack, right? Because they ended up pushing over towards C. A and B got a little bit tricky. OT for both, I believe. time on sea wasn't really enough, and could you capture lightning a bottle twice here for the Shanghai Dragons to get this miraculous sea cap? Unfortunately, not so. Not going to be the case for 2 maps in a row. Charge, on the other hand, I mean, an expected result. They came through blisteringly fast pace on A, snowball that all the way through B and C. I don't even think Charge, did they even lose a fight? Did Charge even get reset? I don't think they did. Pretty certain Charge just full push their way through the entire map. Some of the pushes met resistance and were a little bit slower than the others, but all in all, I don't think Charge actually got reset there.
Yeah, and just were able to consistently keep up that pressure. Allow 2-1 the lead. Shanghai Dragons and the Infernal fans. They need at least that one more map here to keep their hopes alive. We'll see if they can get it, though. So we'll go to a quick break, and we'll come back for what could be the final map. And we are back. Potentially one more map to close out the series. Guangzhou Charge looking to solidify themselves in first place here in APAC. One more map win, they will be able to do it. Need to stop Shanghai from picking up 2 for them to be able to overtake the Seoul Infernal. And given what we saw in Junkertown, definitely seems possible, but the Shanghai Dragons have been fighting back. It certainly wasn't as easy of a win considering the time bank that they started with after capping A.
I think a 3-1 for Charge, obviously on the technical side, is more than acceptable to retain your #1 position. They would be beating the Seoul Infernal in terms of rankings here on the leaderboard, on the standings rather. But maybe not so good for the narrative of Charge fighting for that #1 position in terms of the power ranking. Shanghai Dragons, though, they're steadily climbing up. I mean, they are looking better and better outside of they just lost to Dallas, I think. But aside from that, let's take a look at my favorite stat line for, you already know the one I'm going towards, Viper, the Pulse Bomb Prince himself. 83.3 Pulse Bomb attach rate. That's pretty nuts.
Disgusting. That is ridiculous. I mean, we saw him finish, versus the Dynasty, and finish the series with a 50% rate. But he comes out here 83.3%.
It's crazy.
He's got a pulse in his hands. You just know someone's gonna die. That is insane. I'd be curious to know what the total pool is. How many he did use. But obviously it's in excess of probably like 7 pulse bombs.
He got 6 pulse bomb kills, so at least 6. At least 6. I can tell you his pulse bomb efficiency is 1.00, which means every pulse bomb got a kill, even the ones that didn't stick. So he did miss some pulse bombs because it's not 100%, but even the ones he missed still got a kill.
Nasty stuff from Viper. Just unfortunately not quite enough for them to be able to complete that defense there on the side of Junkertown. So they do find themselves in a deficit. They need to be able to win as we get ready to go into Colosseo for our push map, if they want to tie this up and take us all the way to Oasis and make some Infernal fans very, very happy.
Who do you think, honest opinion, who do you think is currently in the race for Rookie of the Year? Some people saying Sugar Free. I'm gonna start talking about Viper a little bit. Look, I understand his team's not very good. His team is not good, guys. But can I interest you in an 83.3% pulse attach rate and a 50% pulse attach rate across formats versus all, like, individually, he's kind of looking good. I'm just saying.
I mean, Fleta made a name for himself on a team that was playing like garbage, and he was the shining light. Viper, I'm not saying that the Dragons are necessarily playing like garbage. Obviously, they're being fairly competitive here. Aside from our opening map of Antarctica, they have been competitive versus the Charge. But you can make that argument. I mean, we gave Dia player of the match when Shanghai won 0-40, so why not?
I just wonder who are the other rookies that are kind of in that conversation? Because so far, I mean, Shock. Obviously, we know Shock are not doing super great at the moment, so we're not talking about that team at the moment. I don't know. Like, what other teams are like? What other teams with rookies are really? I don't know. But I think the standouts are probably like Sugar Free and Viper. Gotta be real with you. Let's see if that continues for the rest of the series here, as I don't think Dragons are done just yet. Hopefully, I didn't just curse them. Hopefully, I've not just jinxed them. Let's see what Viper can do on this Tracer again.
Well, right now, trying to draw some presence here around Fountain. Let's force a recall out of choice A1. He'll come his way, so Viper can continue to play into this position. As Hisu, greeted by the nade, helps confirm the kill. Piggy very quickly able to scoop it up from there, and the Shanghai Dragons are going to be forced back. Viper under fire. Seems like recall does get burned by him. Piggy just going to be dropping down off that high ground, and they can put some attention now over onto the bot.
A bit of a slow start there for the Dragons. Still though, just the one loss of player so far onto Hisu. See if the rest of the players can bounce back, as no one's really too far behind on ult charge or anything like that. Distance is 15 meters, which is acceptable in terms of a loss. He cops a bio nade, and that is actually enough for the Dragons to take some ground back.
I'm gonna keep it only 15 meters gain, so no big early stretch. But Hisu finding an opening kill. Thought it goes diving forward off the back of that one. Hisu forced off of angles though by that bio. Waits it out. Goes right back into it. Guangzhou looking to rejoin, but Viper again ahead with the pulse bomb. This time though, not going to find a stick, not going to find an elimination. Write that one down as Flood Up going to be eliminated. Piggy hits the floor, slept out, taken low. Viper able to pursue in, finds that elimination, but it's going to be a 2-for-1. Nano's still committed to the fight though. Goes over to Gangnam Jin. Shanghai Dragons trying to win this one out, and he will be able to build up the rally, and he's also going to pop it. But now Iris is going to be eliminated. Viper finds Xerneas, but they need so much more than this. The bot getting back into a neutral position. So far, the Dragons have only gained 1.32 meters. Now Gangnam Jin is dead, and it feels like the Dragons are just getting way too overzealous.
They're trying to clutch. They're trying to do some old 2021 Dragons type beat at the moment where, you know, are we down a couple players? Do we have ults coming online? Can just throw them in there anyway. Gangnam Jin did get chunked down by the Dragon Strike, to be fair, and that allowed Choi to come in for the alley-oop kill. Eris was behind by a good 10% on ult charge for Nano. I think if Eris managed to get Nano in time and saved Fleta, could have been a different fight. That was the difference maker to me. And because of the Nano differential in the first fight, that's going to compound to a gigantic differential now, with Faraway sitting on 77.
Viper with another pulse. Dropping down, he's looking for Xerneas, but he's going to be forced back. In the meantime, Faraway gets Gangnam Jin. Hisu and Viper both so very low, and now they're going to be dead. Sleep on the Fleta. The rest of the team dead around him. He's antied out. And Luis Fleta says, you know what? This is an unwinnable fight. I am not going to use the Primal, so... Some learning, but the bot is continuing to push up.
They're about the cap, and they're one fight away from capping. Hisu now over towards the Sombra. Gangnam Jin now on Lucio. This is where I get slightly more worried for the Shanghai Dragons. Not so much the Sombra part.
Okay.
Unless Brig... okay, Xerneas dies.
Yeah, tries to keep Faraway alive, but the rally is just far too late. Cannot survive. Both, yeah, the support's going to be taken down there. And Jimmy also gets picked. Piggy just getting getting dinked there in the end. Ends up dying, and now the bot can finally be in firm control of the Shanghai Dragons. But how much distance can they get? Because it's right in front of the checkpoint for the charge.
No, they get no distance here. They it's straight away another fight. I think Piggy thought there was an escape route there, then I realized, nope, that's just the wall. I jump back down and die. Needs to reset anyway. Nano coming online for Eris, super important timing. Faraway had a gigantic lead, but didn't get to use the ultimate. And now he's under pressure.
Oh my god. Viper just trying to get into the backline.
Faraway
Faraway kills two! Oh my goodness. He's getting juggled around just a bit, but the health packs are flying here from Xerneas, looking for the peel. Piggy finds Iris.
Still alive.
Before getting taken down. Yeah, he's still, yeah, he can't die. Faraway, he cannot die. He died in the last fight, so we'll ignore that one, but otherwise he can't die.
He just killed 3. The guy just killed 3. With some help. Okay, Xerneas was pocketing it, but guy just killed 3. That was impressive.
You know what? Spoiler alert. I'll throw it out there. I voted for him for player of the match already. It's being reinforced. Hisu now going to be spotted as the recon goes across by Jimmy. So he's got to back out of that position. Storm arrows turned over towards Fleta now. As the bot will be locked in place for now. Mana goes forward. Does go to Jimmy. It's not going to be enough. Viper gets a pulse across. That's enough to confirm the kill. One member gone, Faraway, antied out. Choi Se-won under some fire. Does stay alive, at least for the time being. As Hisu has Piggy completely corralled into the side room, and Fleta comes in for some reinforcements. They will be able to find the kill, but it's not for free. EMP goes across, catches out on multiple members. Viper with a follow-up from one. Choi Se-won taking down the supports for now, though, untouched. But the bot in control, at least somewhat, here for the side of Shanghai.
Man, they were down too many members. You can see that Hisu dives in for the EMP. You could tell he was going to go for it, but then has to translocate straight away. No one can really follow up on that. Thankfully, Viper was there to get 1 kill, but is that enough? I mean, EMP, bad timing, 1 frag, full reset on both sides. It's like it never happened. You kind of wish the EMP was available now instead of, you know, 10 seconds early when he used it. And now Charge have all these ultimates too. They're stacked up again.
Way forward, Dragon Strike goes in. Gangnam Jin forced back, beat still held. Dragons need to start getting some form of real distance established here for themselves. It's just 4.5 minutes remaining. Faraway, though, going to be picked off. Gangnam Jin now using the beat aggressively to look to win out the rest of the fight. Xerneas kind of stuck in an awkward position. Does get that shield bash across from the Fleta, trying to peel for himself, but eventually will crumble under the pressure, as does Jimmy. Choi Se-won, however, still doing God's work for the side of Charge. Comes up with 2 eliminations. Viper gone, just saving them off a little bit more. Now keeps the bot contested as best as possible, but has to pull back, grab that mini pack. Continuing to find some inches, but Fleta just can't play forward. He doesn't have enough backing here. So eventually has to give it up. The Guangzhou Charge continue to lock this into a neutral position, but what a
That's not bad.
Fleta with a charge up with the right click. Takes down Choi Se-won. That's the pulse now. Eliminated from the fight. Dive into the back line. Hisu gets the hack on a Faraway. With Fleta's help, they will find the kill.
They'll get Piggy here as well. Piggy's trying to stall at the moment. He's not popping Primal here, no way. So that's going to be a bit of a late stagger onto Piggy at the, you know, the price of a, what, the benefit, I should say, of Charge allowing the rest of the members to get up in time. But without Piggy available, Dragons just push further forward, convert onto Jimmy, and that's about, what, 4 answered kills in a row now for the Dragons as they continue farming up ultimates, including another EMP, which will be huge here. And if they can drop this EMP and get a big fight win, they can cap.
Yeah, I mean, it did take a minute from that time, though. There's a pulse bomb, but it goes into the shield. Xerneas as well. Nano get up. Does manage to stay alive. Iris, however, pressured out. Piggy just diving in. The bot now. Take it away. So they do get some distance. They go from, what, 16 to 32, so effectively doubling their distance here, but still not really any closer to getting that lead for themselves. EMP available. Hisu into the back lines. Xerneas doing his damage to spy check, just throwing that flail around. So far, though, not making any contact. So Hisu still stays elusive. In the meantime, Piggy is in so deep. Chasing around the back, looking for Iris. EMP now does get used here. Into the back line of the Guangzhou Charge. Far away, disappearing. Is Fleta in pole position to find the kill. Jimmy going to be taken down. Piggy eventually does get his target. That Primal
with the Primal.
Pops, but I don't know if that's going to be enough here. The Shanghai Dragons starting to move the bot away. Once again, pushing over towards the Guangzhou Charge.
I mean, that costs Piggy a whole Primal, though. Like, it feels so expensive. You traded back lines here. It's fairly even for both sides. As we see what else Dragons have to offer here. An extra Nano would do wonders. Gangnam Jin close to the beat as well. Just needs
does have such a long run back. Because of that kill, eventually Dragons cannot really pursue forward and keep the bot locked in place.
Both
so once
of the
again,
teams,
back to the start.
Because the bot is in neutral position, both teams have equal run back here. So you have to do a full reset for both teams no matter what. And out the back of that one, Dragons have more ults now. That will be a very easily dodged Dragon Strike.
Oh, Hisu spotted, has to translocate out immediately. But it's going to be Anti, just goes diving forward. The Primal, though, is there for the bailout. And now Rally going to be popped as he desperately try to keep Far Away alive. And seems like this time it's going to be working a treat. Pulse Bomb goes in. Viper at this time not going to be finding an elimination. And Jimmy gets him an arrow to the head. Takes down the Tracer. The Storm arrows come across. Fleta now falling. Guangzhou Charge winning out the fight as Far Away adds another kill to his record. Cleanup comes in. Charge very much in control. 1 minute and 19 seconds remaining. Guangzhou Charge, it seems like they should have this.
With the time remaining, yeah, absolutely. Dragons, unfortunately, the fight that they needed to win was the one that Piggy went hard on Erison and popped the Primal. Obviously, I don't think there's much you can do against that, but shows that Dragons didn't have the tempo to engage first before Piggy could go in. Speaking of which, Piggy will now be going further in with the Nano.
Does get slept for the time being. Now we'll get up towards A1. And it's the Nano taken out of the fight here. Hisu, 2% from that EMP, and it needs to be a cataclysmic one here for them. And a very clean wipe of the Charge. Trying to get this bot moving. Checkpoint.
They
a couple meters away. EMP
cap.
going to be used. Hisu does manage to find Piggy. Any more off the back of that, perhaps, though. Jimmy low. Hisu managing to find a second elimination down to 40 HP. Jumps out. Nano out. Viper gonna be the recipient. Dives in. He's looking for Xerneas, but the heals come across. Far Away managing to keep him alive at least for a little bit longer. The Anti eventually comes through, however, and Hisu is able to scoop up both kills on the supports. Bot again here in the hands of the Shanghai Dragons, but it's got to be an OT push.
Oh, 3 kills for Hisu there with a late one into choice of 1. That is usable, especially given the fact that there is no forward spawn. Because there was no cap, Charge do not have a forward spawn here. They got to spawn all the way back in base, and Dragons can get the bot up to the barrier here, which allows them to be in contention for a potential flip, but they have to win this fight. It is OT, it is final fight, and Dragons have no ults. Viper better hit this deck.
He absolutely needs to. He's still getting whittled lower and lower, though. 4% left to go. Iris jumped down to half. Rally now pop from Xerneas. Piggy taking a nap. Pulse Bomb does come across, and that's going to cut that Rally shy. Iris as well. The Bionade goes across. Choice A1 going to be taken down. They got the 2-man advantage right now to the Shanghai Dragons. They're looking for a bit more. Fleta trying to find Far Away, takes him low. Jimmy does get Gangnam Jin, but Viper gets Jimmy. The bot again moving forward.
Okay.
25 meters left to go for the Shanghai Dragons.
Importantly, Primal was not used by Piggy there. He wants to retain it for what is going to be the Charge final fight as the Dragons look for a flip here. Again, they don't need to camp, just a flip. Piggy has a Primal for this fight now. Fletus also has one. Surely not a solo kill.
Wait, Iris is dead. But Iris is going to be taken down. Choice A1. The Pulse Bomb doesn't get the kill, but the Pulse Pistols will. Now Viper's dead as well. Xerneas kills him with a shield bash. Piggy's got that Primal rolling, and he's looking to knock some people off the side of the map. Hisu getting juggled around, translocates back over to safety, but the EMP needs to come in, and it needs to come in now. Fleta trying to stay alive to beat just a 2-man, but Fleta immediately taken down as soon as the shielding is gone. The EMP does go through. It catches multiple players, but the kills just cannot be found. The OT bleeds away. They get close to the very end, but it's not close enough. Guangzhou Charge will take this series 3-1. They will deny the 2 maps away from the Dragons. They will deny a win away, and they will go ahead and claim that first place spot.
I think you got to give credit to Dragons here for making it way closer than they had any business making this game. Charge probably were expecting the 3-0. I think everyone watching was expecting the 3-0, given how Antarctic Peninsula went. That was so one-sided. You're like, okay, this you should write the Dragons off after that. There's no way. Dragons simply can't compete in this matchup. But then they actually win a map. And you even look at the final map that we see here on Colosseo. That came down to one fight. And Charge played that super well. Picky kept the primal. Farway survives against a dive. Jimmy survives up against getting hacked by Hisu, even though I think Hisu just should have looked for EMP instead of going for like a solo play to Jimmy. That was weird, and Hisu eventually just kind of flubs up the play by, I don't know, getting primaled off the map and never getting the EMP off. Losing Gangnam Jin was actually gigantic as well, because when you consider what happens in OT and how far back the run back distance is, even if you're a Lucio, Gangnam Jin's spawning all the way from Dragon spawn, not a forward spawn, Dragon's actual spawn. And he's got to go all the way into Charge base just for dying to Jimmy once. That's a gigantic, just one kill, but it's a gigantic loss because it's technically 4v5. So Charge put themselves into a very good position to finally win. But remember, on Colosseo, nobody capped. It was close enough that nobody actually capped the point at all.
Just brutal. And I mean, down to the wire, those last few moments, Guangzhou Charge is seemingly doing everything right. I mean, Piggy as well. Primal popped, juggles Hisu off the side of the map, forces him to translocate, delaying the EMP, and by the time the EMP comes through, they're down members, it's in OT. He has to pull the trigger, but there's just not enough damage to try to get it done. Choi Se-won, nope, I mentioned that I went for a vote on the far away, but Choi Se-won throughout this series, incredible impact performances, nice, double pulse bomb kill, not something that we see too often, very well set up by Piggy,
yeah.
But he was having a whale of a time here on the Tracer.
I want to set the record straight, by the way. I'm pretty sure I saw in the chat that you did, in fact, also join us for the Choi Se-won vote. So I thought, pretty sure it was a unanimous one, Seth. Everyone went for Choi Se-won here for good reason. I mean, look how hard he clutched up on maps, especially the one on King's Row where Charge lost. They lost this map, but still Choi kept this team in so hard. Just multiple plays from Choi that were brilliant. And I think this has also been a long time coming. If it wasn't for the fact that Jimmy had been, super flashy and destroying his opponents in previous matches, Choi had been right alongside him. Choi had been farming up the stats, putting in the impact every single game so far. I mean, it's been 3 years of Choi being underrated, being unspoken of, and I think this is the year where he really has his breakout.
I mean, we saw it just, even last year, even with some of the struggles that Charge were going through, when they started looking better and better, Choi Se-won was the one who was coming out and looking like one of the best DPS players that we did have in APAC at the time, and that hasn't really gone away. He's just continuing to find impact, and like you say, if not for perhaps Jimmy's incredible flashy performances across their opening series on this Hanzo in particular, maybe Choi Se-won would find himself with a couple more MVP wins, player of the match wins, but he put up some incredible figures here from the side of this Tracer, even if he didn't quite have the same pulse stick percentage. At the end of the day, it's about who wins.
4 maps. Remember, Viper's pulse stick rate for 4 maps was 50. Choice 1 ending on 47.4 is only 2.6 off, which is still very close. I mean, this is no blue collar day. It is a little bit for Choice 1, considering the color of the team and all that, and how hard he's had to work over 3 years. It's been a blue collar career, I think, for Choice 1, but I mean, 47.4 is nothing to scoff at. That's only 2.6 off for what Viper got previously versus Seoul. And another thing I want to point out is when we actually had the head-to-head stat lineup between Choi and Viper, you notice that Choi still had comparable elims and final blows despite not having anywhere close to a pulse stick rate. And that just shows how much impact he's had on the game, where despite not farming all his kills off pulse bombs, his impact in the neutral just as a Tracer was phenomenal because he had very comparable stats despite not having the 83%.
Well, hi, we're on camera and we can see what you were talking about. It does look like you're kind of repping the Guangzhou Charge a little bit with your outfit there today, Afro.
A lot more than I expected. That just wasn't even intentional.
It's all good. I mean, why not? I mean, they have just continued to prove that they are at the top of the standings here in APAC. It's been a wonderful beginning to the season for them, and they're in a very strong position now as we do get ready to go into knockouts, starting from next week. But I think that for Shanghai Dragons, being able to get the map, being able to have everything other than Antarctic Peninsula be as competitive as it was, is still a good indicator that there is hope. We got to see, Pleta playing some different things. We got to see him, bringing out the Sigma, trying to go into that 1v1 versus Piggy. Didn't quite go his way. Was, Accretion's son out of one of his fluxes, etc. But clearly things are continuing to level up. And that's the question that we kind of posed before we went into this matchup was, do we see continued growth from the Shanghai Dragons, or do things stagnate after the most recent loss? It seems like they are, in fact, kind of like the fuel, trending a bit upward, just not necessarily at that same pace.
And well, better late than never. If Shanghai continue to at least make improvements, then they'll not only make games more competitive, but you'll likely see them take more maps and take more matches here. I don't think it was really going to be possible for Shanghai to beat the Guangzhou Charge today. That's why you set the bar towards just 2 maps. The bar is 2 maps, which versus the Charge might still be too many, but they got the one, which I think is impressive. The fact they got King's Row, especially after the shellacking that was in Arctic Peninsula, was a real big surprise, I'm sure, to everybody watching, because Shanghai did not look good on map number 1, but they came back swinging so hard on King's Row.
And it's unfortunately, I think, one of those moments for both, the team Shanghai as well as the fans is just, okay, what if we didn't have that rough start? What if we were a bit more warmed up coming into that Antarctic Peninsula? Could this have been a different result? Could have been even more competitive. Unfortunately, we just won't know because that's not the way that things transpired. But we are going to be waiting on an interview. I believe that we're going to have Jimmy for our player interview, so that'll be fun. We get to hear from him and see how he feels given the team's performance so far this season and whatnot. So we're just waiting to get him situated so that we can jump into that.
I got to think about what I'm going to ask him now, because if it was, I thought we were going to get Choi, because Choi had been, I think Choi and Piggy have been interviewed most of the times, but we had to finally talk to Jimmy after it's funny because the 2 times Jimmy got play of the match, I think Choi got interviewed, and now Choi gets to play the match, but we're going to interview Jimmy. But I think there's a lot to ask him, because haven't spoken to Jimmy yet this season. We don't know what his thoughts are on a lot of things, so we'll get that one cooking.
Mm-hmm.
First question will be, is you going to Custer's wedding or not? Give us a straight answer.
I was considering asking that one as well, but probably just doesn't have the time to do it. Unfortunately, man's got to grind, I want to clarify something that I said earlier, because I could see somebody mistaking it. I didn't say that the Dragons were playing like garbage before, by the way. I said that Flashluck's Fleta's old team was playing like garbage. It just stuck in my brain after I said it. I was like, someone's going to misconflate that. But I'm being told that the interview is ready, so we can go ahead and jump into that one. I don't want to see any pitchforks coming for me here from the Shanghai fans. But we'll go ahead and get ready to chat with Jimmy and see how he feels about the win and about the season so far. Just waiting to confirm that production.
There he is.
Okay, there we go. Hello.
Jimmy, 你好，可以听见吗? Hello.
你好, can you hear us?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we got Evelyn. We got Evelyn here as well. So let's just kick things off. Congratulations on winning. That was probably a little bit more difficult than you expected today. You guys ended up losing King's Row. So tell me what happened on that second map.
Wait, wait, my voice.
Oh, the same issue with his cam. He has something with his mic, so maybe wait a couple of seconds.
All right. Well, we'll just wait until everything's fixed, I suppose.
Yeah, he's got some issue with his mic.
Okay. I think we might be getting his webcam mic.
I think you did hear us a little bit earlier on when I said hello in Chinese.
有没有道理？你们先不要说，我听不到了。Hello?
Hello? 你好?
Yeah. 我听得见。
Okay. You want to ask your question again, Avril?
Yeah, I can hear you. So.
Okay.
So the question was asking about King's Row and what happened on that map, given how much closer the series was than people anticipated.
好的，首先恭喜获胜。然后今天的比赛是不是好像比预想的困难一点？毕竟你们输掉了国王大道。想问一下，在国王大道上发生了什么呢？
在国王大道我们一直在出现一些失误，比如说被对面的 Viper 炸弹一直在被粘，我们做出了很多失误吧，包括我们的残局沟通也出了一些问题，然后我们会继续去改正这个问题。
So on King's Row, we've made quite a lot of mistakes, like being caught by Viper. We died because of his pulse bombs, and also there was something went wrong with our communications. and we are a little bit like uncoordinated. But definitely we will fix these issues and perform better next time.
All right. I'll just go ahead. I'll ask the meme question, I suppose. But I assume your schedule is too busy. But can we expect to see you at Custa's wedding in the future here, Jimmy? Are you going to go and be his best man?
下一个问题就会比较有意思了。虽然知道你们应该都是忙着要打比赛，但是想问一下，你会不会去出席 Kasta 的婚礼呢？毕竟你是他的好兄弟，对吧？
经常想去参加他的婚礼，但是因为我们的训练赛赛程时间，我们估计会没有那个时间去参加他的婚礼，但是我会给他准备一些我的惊喜，以及我们广州。
Yeah, I definitely want to like attend Kasta's wedding, but sadly because we have so much screams and we have packed off all the time, so I may not be able to join. But I will prepare some surprises and some charge marks for Kasta and as our wedding present for him. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I want to ask a question about the previous match they played versus Soul Infernal. It was a very close match that went to 5 maps. Do they feel like they are still the best team in the East region right now despite losing? And if you could give some thoughts on what happened in that game as well.
然后接下来这个问题想问一下，之前对阵首尔烈火队的比赛，因为在上一场比赛非常遗憾的2-3输给了他们，但是依旧觉得大家表现得很好，想问一下，觉不觉得我们广州队还是能做到现在是东部赛区最强的队伍？同时也想问一下那场比赛发生了什么，所以会最终导致输掉呢？
那场比赛首先是因为就是他们拿了一个我们在训练赛里面基本上从来没有遇到过的阵容，然后在打比赛的时候我们也非常的心急，然后想要去找到去破解他们阵容的办法，但是因为我们的着急，然后出现了很多失误，但是我觉得我们队伍还是很有信心能继续成为东部第一的。
So the main reason we lost the match against So Inferno is because they had a comp that we've never met in scrims, which I guess is a ball comp, and that really caught us off guard. And we like be busy with figuring out how to counter that comp, but ultimately failed and made so many mistakes. But after like fixing all these mistakes, I believe we can still be the strongest team in APAC.
Okay. I mean, I have a question. You know, going beyond APAC, I'm not sure how much of the NA matches you've been able to watch, but have there been any teams this season that you've seen that you want to play against? You know, presuming that you can face them at the mid-season Madness tournament.
那么下一个问题是，想问一下有没有关注西部赛区的比赛？有没有哪支队伍是你特别想在季中赛能够遇到他们的？
亚大君临吧，因为我想试试我们用我们这个阵容我们一直在用我们半藏安娜锤妹这个阵容，一直在用这个阵容去接双短，我们想试试能不能接住西部最强的黑影力。
好的。So the team I want to play against the most is the Atlanta Rain because we've always been using our comp with Ashe, Hanzo, and Ana to counter the enemy dive comps with Sombra Tracer, and I want to know like whether it will work against the best Sombra lip in that comp. Yeah.
I wanted to ask about the Hanzo at the moment because it seems like Guangzhou are mainly playing with Ujimi on the Hanzo instead of any Sombra or any other types of compositions. So, what's your sort of reasoning for your preference for Hanzo at the moment? And yeah.
在广州队的比赛中能看到机敏选手，你一直是在操刀半藏这个位置，想知道为什么会主要选择运用半藏这个英雄？
因为这个赛季我们在练习黑影阵容的时候出现了很多的问题，然后但是因为感觉时间不是那么充分，我们要去一点一点修复这些问题比较困难。我们也尝试过黑影这个阵容一段时间，但是我们打的并不是很好，我们的配合包括我们的沟通会出现很多问题。但是我相信在后面的比赛里面，我们也会拿出这个阵容来的。
So we actually tried Sombra comps a lot in scrims, but it didn't work as well as we thought. There is some issue with our cooperation and communications, so we choose to go with Handle, which I'm more comfortable with. But I believe after more practice on Sombra, we will also come with the Sombra comp in the match in the future.
Okay,
Final
maybe
question for
something to
Jimmy.
see.
This will be a fun one. I'm wondering if Jimmy knows right now that he is probably the most popular Chinese Overwatch player for the English-speaking fans, and if he has any message for the English-speaking fans.
那么下一个问题就是一个比较有意思的问题。现在吉米选手，你可能是在英文社区里最受欢迎的中国选手呗？想知道你对英文社区的粉丝们有没有一些话可以讲的？就也可以尝试用英文讲，当然用中文也可以。
先用中文吧，我就不说英文了。就是很感谢他们的关注以及他们的支持，然后他们的很多有趣的梗，我们这边也都会我也会都看到。然后想对 fans 说的话就是当 Costa 在直播的时候，请大家多多去关注 Costa。
好的 ，So yeah, he definitely appreciates the support from English fans, and he also saw a lot of like memes you guys made from him, and he thinks they are really fun. One thing he wants to say is, to support him, maybe you could just come to Casta stream and support Casta more. Yeah, cause they are great buddies, I think. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, man. Congratulations again.
Yep, thank you, Jimmy. 谢谢。
感谢采
Thank you
访，
all.
谢谢。
拜拜。
Bye bye.
Bye. Alrighty. Well, there we go. Heard from the man himself. We'll have to, obviously keep tabs on if he's able to make it over to the wedding and whatnot. I think this would be some great photos. But at the end of the day, it seems like Cuss is going to be a nice gift package. But good insights. Good to hear that they still, despite the loss to the Infernal, feel like they are very much at the top of the standings and can, win that in a rematch should it come down to it. But speaking about, standings, who's on top and whatnot, we'll get ready to go ahead and take a look at our bracket for next week because we are going to be diving into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, and finally get to see where our Overwatch League teams will be placed alongside the contenders teams as well, which I believe there should be some advantages for the Overwatch League teams in general, unless you are in the last place. So I believe for Seoul Dynasty and Shanghai, they'll be the ones with the unfortunate seeding in terms of having to play extra games in the bracket. It's two double Elam brackets, two separate double Elam brackets, of which only one winner from each bracket go to the mid-season madness. And I mean, possible chance, might be a small one, but a possible chance for a contenders team to maybe even make it.
Well, before that, we will say that for anybody who might be, watching from Korea or who wants to come out to Korea to go ahead and attend the matches there at mid-season, the tickets are open. So you can go ahead and pick up your tickets to be able to attend the matches in person. So, obviously 3-day event is going to be over at Kintex. There has been many a historical esports event held in that very venue. I believe that we had Kintex for Apex Season 4. That was where, Prophet and whatnot were able to go ahead and get their win over Runaway, et cetera, et cetera. So very much is used to seeing, very familiar scene, I suppose, for Overwatch Esports. So if you want to attend that, see it in person, you can do so. You can also obviously get tickets to go watch the games at the WDG Arena. But yeah, hope to see many a friendly face in the audience there.
And, hopefully a team like Guangzhou, if they make it there as well. A fun fact about the Guangzhou Charge is I believe this team still hasn't even met in person yet for a bunch of the members, like Choice One, obviously Piggy as well, because you've got some Chinese members, you have some Korean members. They wanted, if you guys watch for people that have, there's a documentary on the Guangzhou Charge YouTube where they basically talk about rebuilding the team. And yeah, a bunch of the players have never met. They wanted to do that last year in LA for the playoffs, but they ended up missing out. So I believe brackets are up.
Yeah,
we get to talk about Ochu Blast, Panthera SPG, and all the rest.
Yeah, we're seeing things a little bit differently from our side compared to your guys' side, but yeah, brackets are up. It's going to be exciting to see, how these all shape up. Being able to work those contender teams into the mix as well is obviously going to be a new flavor because I think we've got a decent idea of the power balance between all of our Overwatch League squads. But once we throw in these younger teams, these ones that are coming out of contenders that have a lot to prove, that's when things could certainly get spicy.
One thing I want to bring up that's going to be really interesting is that both the Joe teams have ended on the same bracket, so only one of them can make it through. Between the Guangzhou Charge and Hangzhou Spark, one of them will end up missing out on the mid-season madness. And at this stage, I mean, God, I want three. I want Charge, Infernal, and Spark to all make, because they're all good in their own right. Spark is struggling a little bit more than the other two at the moment, but yeah, you're going to lose one of the Joes in the brackets here, guaranteed. And on the other side of the bracket, you're going to have Infernal, Dragons, and Feel in there. So it looks like, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if Infernal have a much easier pathway through, although Infernal do have to go through O2 Blast as well, which will be hopefully one of the stronger contenders.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the expectation, just given the name and what O2 is able to do. They have been a big farm team, I suppose, for the shock of the past. But we already kind of touched on it. Of course, the tickets are open. You can go ahead and pick them up. Follow the link down below. They went on sale just today, or tomorrow. They go on sale tomorrow. Sorry, May 15th. There you go. I'm a little bit off. But yeah, would love to see a lot of people there. I'm particularly planning on being there in person in the audience if I'm not working. So it'd be good to go back and see the old Kintex venue once again, as well as a lot of, faces and Korean broadcast talent that I have.
I require you to have a fan sign. I require you to have a fan sign.
I'm gonna have one. It's gonna say, "When's Runaway play?"
And then I want you to show your face for about 2 seconds and hide it away. That way we don't know if it's you. It's like, was that Achilles? We'll never know. Have to rewind the VOD.
I'll probably end up sticking out like a sore thumb in the crowd. So I think I don't think it'd be too hard to discern if it was me or not. So, but I think that is something that we can look forward to, because hey, I've got a car now. I can drive over to Kintex with relative ease. It's like a 25-minute drive for me. That's not too bad at all. I'll just have to make sure that I can, get a ticket, because these things might sell out pretty quickly. Korean fans have been a little bit starved, I suppose, when it comes down to having some LAN events. Obviously now with the WDG arena, there's plenty to watch, but having all the teams, having some of the the North American teams as well coming over to here is going to be a much different flavor for them. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
And that ends the qualifying stage. So we're officially into knockout starting next week. So we're not going to be taking a break. The fun does not end here. The fun don't stop, as we get to see the two brackets come through for what is going to be the business end of stage one, the first split.
Yeah, we didn't see them, so we'll take a look at them again. We didn't see them. You guys saw them, but we will have the brackets up once again, I'm being told, so that we can take a look at it. We were able to react a little bit to the Group B bracket, but as soon as it's ready, we'll fly that on screen once again so that Haverl and I can give our honest and big reactions. This is the matches for today.
In case you forgot the scoreline.
In case you forgot the scorelines.
I can fill in the gaps here as well, in case you're wondering which exact Overwatch League team. So it'll be Pokerface versus Dreamers, then Rhodes versus Seoul Dynasty. In case you don't know who's on Rhodes, that's kind of like a Chengdu-esque team as well. They're the team that are full of a bunch of ex-Chengdu and ex-Overwatch League members from Spark as well. Back in the day, got Pineapple Prettier, Odium, Coldest Kaneki. Just thought I want to point that team out in particular. And then the Owl Seed 1 is Guangzhou Charge, and Owl Seed 3 is Hangzhou Spark on the bottom side. So they are on the same bracket. So it's going to be Seoul Dynasty, Spark, and Charge all on this side of the bracket, with Pokerface, Dreamers, and Rhodes. 3 Chinese teams all on the same side of the bracket. That's actually a little bit tragic, but that's how the cookie crumbles.
I mean, unfortunately, just going to have to cannibalize the region just a little bit. But then if you want to go ahead and fill in the gaps as we go over to the Group B bracket.
Yeah, O2 Blast versus Panthera. No one needs an introduction to O2 Blast. This team has dominated the entire Korean region for years at a time. Seed 6 is going to be Shanghai Dragons, who unfortunately did not take their second map win today. Seed 2 is Seoul Infernal, with Seed 4 as the Dallas Feel. So I think this side of the bracket number 2, is definitely far more tenable. Outside of O2 Blast, this should be a fairly, I think, straightforward run for the Seoul Infernal. They would be the strong favorites here. They get to dodge both the Joe teams. And Dallas Field could prove to be a bit of a problem if they level up again. Shanghai starting to look more dangerous, but really I think, if O2 Blast get past Panthera, which they probably should, the O2 versus Seoul Infernal game should hopefully be a bit of a banger.
All right, well, plenty to look forward to. Obviously, all that action is going to be kicking off next week, so you don't have to wait too long, and we'll get right into the nitty-gritty of it, because I believe we also have, 4 matches each day next week, across Saturday and Sunday, I believe, if my memory is serving. So there's going to be a lot of APAC action to digest. Again, some new looks with those contenders teams coming in, looking to really prove themselves. Because at the end of the day, these are going to be teams that are playing with nothing to lose but everything to gain for the most part. So if they can make deep runs, O2 Blast in particular, the ones that we have, some higher expectations for, then that is going to shake things up and probably feel pretty bad for the Overwatch teams that fall to their hands. So we'll have to just wait and see what happens. But that is going to do it from us. Go ahead and wrap things up here for week 3, and then we'll see you guys again once we go ahead and get into the elimination stage of things. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. We'll just stay live. Screw it. We'll stay live until next week.
They got Choi. We got